Manipulating formulae. Learning intention. To learn how to rearrange formulae to make a given variable the subject. The area of a disk is given by the formula A equals pi r squared. So here we have a disk or a circle, and the area is pi r squared. A is said to be defined in terms of r. R is the independent variable. So we can say that A is the subject of the formula. If we know r, we can find A. For example, if r is equal to 3, so if the radius of the circle is 3, then A is going to be equal to 9 pi, because 3 squared is 9, and 9 multiplied by pi is 9 pi. If r is equal to 8, if the radius is 8, then A is going to be 8 squared, which is 64, multiplied by pi, which is 64 pi, etc. In some cases, we may need to find r in terms of A, i.e. make r the subject of the equation or the subject of the formula. So let's say we have pi r squared is equal to A. Well, then r squared will be A over pi. So r will be equal to the square root of A over pi. So now we have r on its own. So now r is the subject of the formula or the subject of the equation. So r is now defined in terms of A. Thus, if we know the area of the circle, we can find the radius. So for example, if the area is equal to 9 pi, then for the radius, we know that r is equal to root A over pi, where A is the area. So then r will be equal to the square root of 9 pi over pi. The pi's will cancel, and it will be equal to the square root of 9, which is 3. So if the area is 9 pi, then the radius is 3. Whereas up here we had the radius was 3 and worked out that the area was 9 pi. So it makes sense that if the area is 9 pi, then the radius will be 3. Example 1, part 1. If v squared minus u squared plus 2as, express A in terms of v, u, and s. So we want to make A the subject of the formula, or the subject of the equation. Part 2, if the square root of x plus y over x minus y is equal to a half, express y in terms of x. So i.e. make y the subject of the formula. Hence, which means using what you've just worked out, find the value of y when x is equal to 5. So part 1, we start with v squared equals u squared plus 2as. So we want to make A the subject. So we want to bring any A terms or any terms containing an A to the left. So the only term that has an A is this one here. So positive 2as. So that's going to come over the equal sign and become negative 2as. And we just bring everything else down. Next, we're going to bring all terms without an A to the right. So u squared doesn't have an A, but it's already on the right, so we don't need to move it. V squared needs to be moved over to the right, and it becomes minus v squared. So we have minus 2as is equal to u squared minus v squared. So we want to get the A on its own. So at the moment, we have a minus 2 and an s stuck onto the A. And 2 things or 3 things stuck together in maths means multiply. So, and the opposite of multiply is divide. So we're going to divide by minus 2s to get the A on its own. But we have to divide all of the terms by minus 2s. So we divide all the terms by what is stuck onto the A. So we divide all the terms by minus 2s, because we have to balance the equation. So that means the minus 2 and the s will cancel, which will leave the A on its own, which is what we want. So we have A is equal to u squared minus v squared all over minus 2s. So this can just become a common denominator. So this answer is fine. A is now the subject of the formula, but we can take the minus that is in the denominator and just bring it out in front of the fraction. Like so. So notice now it's gone from the 2s at the bottom and it's in front of the fraction. And we can do this because a over minus b is equal to minus a over b, which is equal to minus a over b. So this is just a little rule with fractions and a minus. So if the minus is in the denominator, it can be moved out in front or it can be moved up to the numerator. So you can arrange it in whatever way you want. So I just took the minus from the denominator and just brought it out in front. But either of these answers is fine. Part 2. So we want to express y in terms of x. So we want to make y the subject. So we're going to start off by getting rid of this square root because we need to try and break apart the y's, get them out of the fraction. So the first thing we need to get rid of is the root. So we bring the root over the equals and we square the other side. Another way to think of this is that you square both sides and you balance the equation that way. So we carry the root over the equal sign. So the root is now gone and it has become squared. So we're going to square the right-hand side, and a half to be squared means a half multiplied by a half, and a half of a half is a quarter. So we have x plus y over x minus y is equal to a quarter. So remember, we want to get the y on its own. So at the moment, we have it contained in a numerator and a denominator. So there's a couple of ways that you could continue here. So we could multiply both sides by x minus y to break up this fraction, or we could cross multiply to break up the fractions. So I'm going to go with cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply the top left by the bottom right and the top right by the bottom left. So starting with top left multiplied by bottom right. So I have 4 times x plus y on the left. And then I'm going to multiply the top right by the bottom left. So then I just multiply out the brackets. So 4 by x is 4x and 4 by y is 4y. And then on the right-hand side, I multiply out the brackets. And 1 multiplied by anything is just itself. So we just have x minus y. So remember, we're trying to get the y on its own. So at the moment, we have 4y on the left and minus y on the right. So we're going to bring everything with a y over to the left and everything without a y over to the right. So I've just wrote down this step again. So I haven't actually done anything new here. So I'm going to bring everything with a y over to the left. So bring all y terms to the left. So that minus y comes over the equal sign and becomes plus y. So I have 4y plus y is equal to, and then everything without a y goes over to the right. So all terms without a y go to the right. So the 4x comes over the equal sign and becomes minus 4x. Now I'm going to simplify both sides. So 4y plus 1y is 5y. And 1x minus 4x is minus 3x. So I've tied it up as much as I can. I'm just going to go back to the question. It says express y in terms of x, which means get y on its own, make y the subject. So I'm nearly there. I just have to divide both sides by 5. And I get y is equal to minus 3x over 5. Now y is in terms of x. Y is the subject. Then it said hence, which means using what we've already worked out. So using this, what we just worked out, find the value of y when x is equal to 5. So we're going to swap the x for a set of brackets, and we're going to put 5 into the brackets. And minus 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 divided by 5 is, minus 15 divided by 5 is minus 3. So the value of y when x is 5 is minus 3. Example 2. A container in the shape of an inverted cone is used to hold liquid. Given that tan theta equals r over h, express the volume, v, in terms of the depth, h, of the liquid and the angle theta. So in this diagram, we can see the r here stands for the radius of the circle inside of the cone. The h stands for the height of the depth inside of the cone, and theta stands for the angle. So you need to go to your formula book and find the formula for the volume of a cone. Inverted just means it's upside down, but it's still the same formula. So we want to get V on its own. We want to make V the subject of the formula. So the formula is V equals 1/3 pi r squared h. It's on page 10 of your formula book. So there it is on page 10 of your formula book. And see, the cone is not inverted, but obviously the formula is the same. So we were told in the question that tan theta is equal to r over h. So that was given. So we're going to multiply both sides by h. So this is so we can get the r on its own. So multiplying the right-hand side by h just cancels out that h. And multiplying the left-hand side by h, we just stick the h in front of tan theta. So we get h tan theta is equal to r. So now we have r on its own. Now we can substitute it into the volume formula, and that will get rid of the r from the formula, which means that what we have left will be in terms of h and theta, which is what we want. We were told to express the volume in terms of h and theta. We were not told to express it in terms of r. So we want to get rid of the r. That's why we got it on its own. So now we can replace r with h tan theta. So we replace that r with a set of brackets and h tan theta. And we have 1/3 pi times h tan theta squared h. And 1/3 pi we can just rewrite as pi over 3. Everything else remains the same. H tan theta squared is h tan theta times h tan theta, which gives us h squared tan squared theta. So we just replace this here with h squared tan squared theta, and obviously bring down the h as well. So now all we have to do is multiply the h squared by the h, and h on its own is really h to the power 1, so we're going to get h cubed. So V is equal to pi over 3 h cubed tan squared theta. So now we have the volume in terms of h and in terms of theta. So V is now expressed in terms of h and the angle theta. Example 3. Given x equals t plus 4 over 3t plus 1, find t in terms of x. So make t the subject of the formula. So we just write down what was given. I'm going to change x to be x over 1. I'm going to cross multiply to break up my fractions. So it's going to be the top left multiplied by the bottom right, and the top right multiplied by the bottom left. So it's going to be 1 times t plus 4, and then x times 3t plus 1. So 1 multiplied by t plus 4 is just t plus 4. Then x times 3t is 3tx, and x times 1 is x. So I'm going to bring all the t terms to the left of the equal sign. So 3tx comes over and becomes minus 3tx. And then I bring all the other terms to the right. So the plus 4 comes over and becomes minus 4. So I have t minus 3tx equals x minus 4. Remember, I'm trying to get the t on its own. So I'm going to factorize to get the t outside. So I have t times 1 minus 3x equals x minus 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by what's stuck onto the t, which is 1 minus 3x to get the t on its own. So I divide both sides by 1 minus 3x. And dividing the left-hand side by 1 minus 3x means these will cancel. So t is on its own. And then on the right-hand side, I just have x minus 4 over 1 minus 3x. So I found t in terms of x. And that's what I was asked to do. Now t is in terms of x. T is the subject of the formula or the subject of the equation.